Welcome, dear astrology friends. Welcome to another video with me, Veerle, and this is all about the Mercury retrograde that is starting around at about the 9th, the 10th of November, and it goes direct again, this Mercury, around at about the 30th of November. Then that whole November time is actually really much about the Mercury retrograde. Of course, there's tons of other things in November, so watch the November horoscopes. I already made them, but this is specifically about this Mercury retrograde. So yes, what's going on here? What is this flavor of retrograde? We know that 3 times a year we have this reassessment of the things that we talk about, of the topic, the area of our life where the Mercury retrograde is going on. Whether that is in our 7th house of relationships or maybe in the 10th house around our work, we are reassessing something. That's for sure. And reassessing, as much as a lot of people don't like the Mercury retrogrades, they're there for a reason. It shows us to stop, to kind of observe what's going on so that and a lot of times we forget this, that we can improve that area of our lives. That's actually the whole topic about the Mercury retrograde. You kind of stand still. What's going on here? What I'm doing and thinking, is this the right way? I'm gonna adjust it. And when Mercury goes direct again, boom, you communicate, you think in a different way, you shifted your mindset, and off you go. So during, of course, the Mercury retrograde, which is around the 9th and the 10th of November at 6 degrees of Sagittarius, there might be a little bit of a crisis going on, or a little bit of an issue, a challenge that seems to get worse. That is very often whilst this Mercury is preparing to standing still, as it seems, and goes backwards. So remind yourself, if that's going on, that you've got an opportunity here to delve a little bit deeper and to improve this area of your life. Okay, so that's already one very positive thing about the Mercury retrogrades. Of course, no one likes that. No one likes to, when you're traveling, which is represented by Mercury, and definitely in Sagittarius, that you have to wait a couple of more hours just before the train comes or an airplane or whatever. No one likes that. But if you're prepared and if you believe in that there is, everything is connected to each other and to everything, that there's a reason, even if we don't understand it, that is the best. But Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, let's delve a little bit deeper into it. As I said, the 9th to 10th of November at 6 degrees, and then it goes back to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then it goes back into Scorpio at 29 degrees of Scorpio. So we're going to have that retrograde in 2 different signs, Sagittarius and then retrograde. First, the technicalities, to get it out of the way here. So around at about the 19th and 20th of November, Mercury shifts into Scorpio, 29 degrees of Scorpio. Then it goes backwards 28, 27, and so on, up until the 30th of November, Mercury is again shifting gears, and it stands still, stationary, and it goes direct at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So then Mercury will already be at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So it's going direct on the 1st of December, the 2nd of December, and so on, until it reaches the 12th of December. Then Mercury goes back into Sagittarius at 0 degrees. And then it goes out of it, we call it out of its shadow. So the period where this Mercury went backwards, which is 6 degrees of Sag, Mercury goes direct again at 6 degrees of Sagittarius on the 17th of December. So you see, this is a pretty long period of time where we have an opportunity for 2 areas of our lives to look at it, to improve it, to make it work better after the adjustments we have made. But first we have to observe before we can make the adjustments. So that's the technicalities of it. Let's now delve into, so now you know when Mercury is going to be in Sag, when Mercury is going to be in Scorpio. But now let's delve into Mercury in these signs. What does it mean? Where do we have to look at? And then I'm going to talk about the most important aspect that flavors this Mercury retrograde. Okay? So first, Mercury in Sagittarius. Mercury in Sagittarius, Mercury, communicator, the thinker, Sagittarius, the bigger picture. This is my belief system, and I'm going to let everyone know what I believe. That's Mercury in Sagittarius. You know, those people with having a Mercury in Sagittarius, they are very straightforward, they're very blunt, very open, very, they are truth seekers as well. And often they think they know it all. There are wiseacres, we call it. That's the negative side of Sagittarius. Every sign has a positive side, a negative side. The positive side is the believer, the optimist, the one that sees the bigger picture. And because of that, they are very expansive people. The downside is that if they become a little bit too much expansive, then you go in overdrive, and then it's called the fantast, or the going over the top, the being a little bit too buoyant, so to speak. Too much of anything is never good, right? And so they can try to convince others that they are right, and of course, when they're right, someone else is wrong. So it depends on the soul, of course, what you do with it. Right? Now that's Sagittarius, so we can really use it to have a bigger picture. And at its best, we use it for having a bigger picture, for seeing things a little bit more in a helicopter view, and we have more context. And of course, the situation doesn't change, but at least we understand it better and we see. Now, Mercury in Scorpio, when it's going to be in Scorpio between the 20th of November and the 12th of December, that's a whole other story. Mercury in Scorpio, like it's like day and night difference. So the Sagittarian wants to see broad and vast and so on, but the Scorpio wants to see deep. It's intense. The thoughts are more intense. Communication is intense. It's deep. It wants to go on a positive level. It's the Sherlock Holmes. It wants to go to the root of the matter, wants to understand. And it's not going to be okay just with the superficial kind of what it sees. It's going to go underneath. It knows what is going on a deeper level, or at least it's going to investigate. It's interested in the dark side of life. It's interested in taboo. It's interested in it so that it can put it, which is under the surface, on the surface, put light on it, and then it's no shadow anymore. It's very much about shadow work. That's why people with Mercury in Scorpio are so interested in the occult. They are interested in deep psychology, in seeing patterns so that you can alchemize them and to make from your curse your blessing. That is Mercury in Scorpio. You see how it sounds so different? And in a positive way, it really gives you transformation. It really gives you that deep understanding, healing as well. On a challenging level, it's like obsessing over something. It's, getting into the abyss and becoming the abyss, getting stuck. It's a fixed sign. It's rigid thinking. It's obsessive thinking. It's also thinking that, and communicating, you can communicate to heal, which is a higher side of the Scorpio. And you can communicate to sting, right, which is the lower Scorpio side. Now, so we see that we have a lot of variety during these 2 months of how we think. And which is necessary and which is very natural because these planets are now in those signs. But another thing is showing here a very big something, and it is called Uranus, because we're going to have 3 times, and I say that in the monthly horoscopes as well, 3 times we're going to have a Mercury opposing Uranus, the planet of freedom, the planet of sudden changes, the planet of I want to break free, the planet of independence as well, the planet of look, this is innovation, we want to change it, and we're going to do that, because it's best, and it has an interest in upgrading on a social level, and to get the most innovative outcome that is honest for everyone. So you see that we have quite a complicated Mercury retrograde here, because Mercury opposing Uranus in 2 different signs, and we already had one, Mercury opposing Uranus, on the 29th of October. So I'm recording this on the 31st of October. So the day before yesterday, we already had Mercury at 0 degrees of Sagittarius opposing, bumping into Uranus at 0 degrees of Gemini. So what happened around that day, it's going to be a bit of a theme during this whole Mercury retrograde. And of course, we're going to have, that was the first time, so we're going to have 2 times Mercury opposing Uranus, but in different signs, because Mercury will be in Scorpio as well. For instance, on the 19th of November, when Mercury gets back into Scorpio at 29 degrees of Scorpio, it's gonna bump into Uranus, not in Gemini anymore, but at 29 degrees of Taurus, the sign before Gemini, because it also went retrograde. So you see here, we have then another opposition. Mercury at the very end of Scorpio opposing Uranus at the very end of Taurus, which is a totally different vibe as Mercury who was in Sagittarius. So Mercury opposing Uranus in Sagittarius and Gemini is more about the thinking and the processes and the belief systems that we kind of have with other people. An opposition means, you're going to live this out with other people, that you might have a certain belief system and you clash with another person. It can be something like that. Or a piece of information that really makes you think in a totally different way and that opens up your view, so to speak. But when Mercury is in Scorpio, it's a different story. This is a fixed sign. This is about information, secret information that gets revealed. So the second time that this Mercury opposes Uranus, but then in Scorpio and in Taurus, is going to be around and about the 19th of November, on the day that this Mercury shifts from Sag to Scorpio. And the third time that Mercury, but then in a direct way, when it's still in Scorpio, but in a direct way, it's going to oppose Uranus again on the 10th of December. And then it's going to be at around at about 28 degrees of Scorpio. So you see, we have like this whole month, Mercury opposite Uranus. It's almost like the whole month of November and the first 2 weeks of December. We have Mercury opposite Uranus. So let's explain what this is all about in the good, the way, and the ugly. So Mercury, planet of communication, opposing with Uranus, planet of freedom and independence, is that we will try to have, unconsciously or consciously, aha moments. And Mercury opposite Uranus is about that. It is about when normally this happens like 2-3 days, that like the position of Mercury and your Uranus in your chart, when Mercury opposes it, that might be like a day or 2-3. But now you see, it's like this whole month that this is going on, which means on a collective level, it's so important that things get revealed, that things get spoken of, but in quite a bit of a shocking way. And quite a bit of Uranus is all about, oh, I didn't know that. What's going on here? That shocking moment or that surprise moment, that element is certainly there. In a positive way, this means that a lot of people are going to have aha moments. A lot of people are going to have breakthroughs. A lot of people are going to see, whether it is secrets when it's in Scorpio or whether it is whilst it is in Sagittarius, the bigger picture. They're going to see the bigger picture. And of course, you decide what you do. And depending on your story, it's going to be for good and it's going to be for worse. For some people, it's not going to be nice information. For other people, it's going to be very surprising, positive information. It depends on your individual chart, of course. But it also, what we can do is to be open for this, to be open for this honesty, because this is what this is all about. Breakthroughs, truths coming out. And of course, if you're someone, no one don't want to have truths coming out and want to do it under the carpet, of course you're not going to like it. But if you're saying, hey, you know what? Truths coming out that might be a little bit unsettling, and it is, Uranus is a planet that is not really interested in being grounded and comfortable. It rather has to break free than to be independent and to open up and to see the truth, rather than just pretending, right? It's different. People who love pretending, who love to do sneaky stuff, who love to, not be real, they of course are not gonna like this. It depends, of course, where this is operating in your chart. But it can mean also having tremendous ideas coming up, having innovative ideas coming up for you, thinking out of the box like unbelievable. It's that Mercury opposite Uranus energy, is that energy in meetings where you kind of brainstorm. And ideas who kind of seem a bit, what's going on here? But they are like, in French, they say avant la lettre. You kind of see avant la lettre. You kind of see very clear now. If you want to know the truth, this is your cup of tea, because either you are going to speak it, depending on in your chart again, or other people are really much going to say what is the truth. And a lot of people, they can be surprised when the truth is spoken, and they can be hurt when the truth is not always nice. No, very often it's not so nice. But when we deal with that, when we sit with these very uncomfortable emotions and feelings and thoughts, then we can really break through something, and we can really see, okay, this is the way, and we adjust. And don't forget, whilst this is all going on, during the whole month of November, we have a beautiful grand water trine. Go to the November horoscopes where I explain that, which means that we have a lot of emotional support going on at the same time whilst this Mercury retrograde is going on. We have Jupiter in Cancer, which is about caring and purpose for the family, for the people you love, protecting. It trines Saturn in Pisces, which is boundaries when it comes to emotions, but in a very, very good way, in a tangible, making the untangible tangible, so to speak. And then it's trining as well with a lot of planets in Scorpio. A lot of planets in Scorpio. At the very end of Scorpio, even Venus is going to be in Scorpio, and also conjoining with that Mercury retrograde that I was talking about in Scorpio. So it's going to be Venus and Mercury. So we're getting help here because Venus conjunct Mercury means that I'm going to tell the truth, but I'm going to do it kindly, with a Venus Mercury. Of course, we start off this Mercury retrograde, because now I'm talking about the last week of November, where Venus and Mercury are together in Scorpio. So which means that, yes, we're still going to deal with these truths, and we're going to tell them, but in a gentle way and in a respectful, fair way, without hurting the other person. But we start off this Mercury retrograde with a Mercury conjunct Mars, which is the opposite, which is like, hey, I'm saying it because I'm saying it, and I'm saying it loud. Mercury conjunct Mars around and about that 9th, 10th of November. And that energy goes on up until, like, you could say the 13th, 14th of November. I mean, that clash between Mercury and Mars, because Mercury, because of its retrograde, it's going to bump into Mars even. That's going to be on the 12th of November. Note it in your agenda that around that time, you want to be very careful of what you say, that you don't regret it afterwards, right? And also when other people are being very blunt, know that they are saying it because of their belief, right? It's not exactly who they are, but because of their belief system. So, of course, this Mercury opposite Uranus, I talked about the good stuff. What is the challenging stuff of a Mercury opposite Uranus? Because there's in every aspect, every constant, every aspect has a dark side and has a positive side. It's up to us to work with it at its best. And an opposition often means also shocking other people just because you want to. And whether it is in Scorpio or in, the aspect Mercury opposite Uranus in Scorpio or in Sag, the goal is the same. I want to shock, and I'm going to shock someone else. And because it's an opposition, there could be a lot of talking, because you kind of want to, you're a bit against the other person, right? And you want to defend yourself, and or another person says something and you're going against it just for the sake of going against it. A person who's got like Mercury opposite Uranus will have that tendency to, they are the person, the people in a family or in a group who kind of does this innovative, a bit contra, a bit different, just to make you think, right? If you say, oh yeah, I think it's very good to go for the new way and to say goodbye to the old. A Mercury opposite Uranus is going to say, yes, but what's wrong with the old? If everyone of the group is saying, yes, we have to let go of the old and go for the new. And the other way around. When a group of people is saying, yes, that person is evil, that person is not good because of this and that and that, a Mercury opposite Uranus person will say, but hey, what about you? Or will say, hey, but this is a good thing of this person. Didn't you see that? So it always kind of tries to go back and forward and flip it over. And that's a bit its task as well. You could say a Mercury opposite Uranus. It's like, and of course, if you use it in a very respectful way, and you can open, again, you go into the positive side of Mercury opposite Uranus, which is the people who open up our eyes, who speak the truth. But again, if you're only doing it because you can't stand that person and you can't stand what they think and you go against it, of course, stay open for truth, right? Stay open for truth, because the truth, it really doesn't have to be defended at all. But there are definitely the ones who kind of know truths even before the whole masses know it, right? It's like the whistleblowers. It's like the people who know in advance what's going on, but it's so shocking that most of the people are not on that level yet. Therefore, it's also associated with genius minds, Mercury opposite Uranus. But of course, again, we use it how we want to use it. So if you see some truths, and remember, respect always other people on their paths, and also know when someone is attacking you, which is possible with this Mercury opposite Uranus, breathe. I would say breathe and know where it's coming from. Is it coming from woundedness and aggressiveness and rebelness? Then don't take it. Not at all, even if it's true. I mean, respect before everything, right? And but of course, if someone else is saying that bluntly truth, and maybe in an unconscious way, and not really wanting to say that to you, pay attention, because it can unravel something that you did not know. And those are the best messages, because they go quick, they go fast, and boom, like lightning, right? So very interesting energy, but again, it's up to us how we use it, right? It's up to us how we use it. A lot of inventive new ideas are going to be created, so let's focus on that. Now, enough of this Mercury opposite Uranus kind of energy, and what area of our lives, where is this Mercury going? And where is this Uranus going, right? This opposition. And I'm going to mention 2 houses, right? I'm not going to repeat it all of the time, but first I'm going to say where Mercury is in Sagittarius from the 10th of November to the 20th of November. And then I'm going to say where Mercury is in Scorpio from the 20th of November up until the 12th of December, right? So there's going to be like 2 different focuses. And remember, whilst all this is nervous energy, I forgot to say that Mercury opposite Uranus in a challenging way is being nervous, being Mercury is the mind, and with Uranus, it's everywhere. It's here and there. And of course, in your speech, you can start talking about this, and then you shift towards something else, and then you talk about your garden, then you talk about your lover, and then you talk about your kids. It's going a bit everywhere. It's a bit ADHD kind of energy, Mercury opposing Uranus. But at the same time, it can have very quick insight because it analyzes in that sharp way, so to speak. So we're going to need some rest, and we're going to need, the nervous system can be a little bit challenged during this time, and the mind for sure. But as I said before, because we have this beautiful water trine, we have plenty of opportunity to tap into this beautiful watery energy, and water calms down, right? Like in the song, calm down, put on the song when you're way too much in the energy of Mercury opposite Uranus, calm down, do something, go on a boat, go and have a bath, that kind of thing, because it kind of gives you that calming energy, or a friend or a person that that has that effect on you. So we can tap into that energy for sure. Okay, let's have a look for very quickly, because this is a very, it's not that difficult to explain it, what this energy is all about, and very quickly through the signs, what kind of area is highlighted here. For Aries people, so the first part, when Mercury will be in Sagittarius, it's your 9th house. So this is for you, your belief system, right? Your belief system that is really challenged here. The truths, and so you could have some, whilst it is in Sagittarius, have those kind of conversations with people who want to, force you to think in a certain way, or you doing that to others. Make sure that you're not doing this. Just use it to have a bigger perspective, which is amazing. And when Mercury shifts into the 8th house from the 20th of November, this is really serious. This is you thinking about huge topics of life, life and death, transformation, money that you share with other people. How can you improve this? How can you improve your investments, return on investments, loans? So everything that you share with another person, whether it is your romantic partner or a business partner. There's a lot of emphasis on intimacy, on you getting real and you being vulnerable, right? In the way that you communicate with another person. And, those vulnerabilities can really make you feel like you are uncomfortable. But when you do that, there is some breakthroughs there for you. Taurians, you're starting off this energy with in Sagittarius in your 8th house. So with Mercury there opposing Uranus, this is sudden insights, sudden breakthroughs that you are ready for when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to deep psychological stuff, when it comes to money that you share with another person. There might be something popping up here. The 8th house is a hidden house. So secrets here definitely can come up here, and they are ready to put on the table and to show each other's vulnerability. Of course, on the 20th of November, Mercury goes into Scorpio in your 7th house. For you, this is all about relationships. This is about a significant relationship that gets a bit of a shake-up, so to speak. If you say, Veerle, I'm single, this could mean someone in your midst that is catching your eye and that wakes you up. But it's a bit like unsettling. But all in all, it's there to grow you and to liberate you from something, and to when secrets come out, whether they are your secrets or their secrets, probably more towards their speech. I say this because Mercury is in your 7th house. So communication can come from this other person, and it unsettles you a little bit, but you have to deal with it. And it's good that it's coming out in the open, because it shows that you're ready for that upgrade. Whatever that means for you, ending the relationship or going deeper and with more intimacy. Very interesting. Geminis, this is starting, in your 7th house of other people, business partners, romantic partners. So there's something that is catching your eye that has to do with their expression. Mercury and Sagittarius in the 7th house. So that might mean like, oh, they're saying something, it's truthful, it's out of the blue, but what is this? So it can shock you a little bit, but know that this is there to improve the relationship on a higher level, on an upgrade. And then on the 20th of November, it goes back in, even if you are single, by the way. This could mean someone gets back into your life and there is something that you work through with this person. On the 20th, this is your 6th house of your day-to-day work. So it can mean that you want to improve. There's something about your day-to-day work that is not going optimal at the moment, and you are finding a way to do this different. And and it can be upsetting in the beginning. Something comes up, maybe your administration is going wrong or whatever, but it means that something needs to be addressed. And the sooner you see this, the sooner you're going to solve this into ultimately, when Mercury goes direct again, to have a better administration, to have better understanding and communication in your day-to-day life. It's also your health. There could be things popping up there that you want to address and that you want to understand. You have a new piece of information, and this, although it is a bit unsettling, this helps you to tackle the issue. Cancerians, this is starting in Sagittarius, is Mercury retrograde in your 6th house. So this is all about your day-to-day life, your day-to-day work, the people that work for you, your health. There's something there all of a sudden coming out. It might be an issue, a health issue that pops up, or it might be a work issue that pops up. Whatever it is, when you're open to understand what this is all about, you have an opportunity to improve your health, to improve your lifestyle, to improve your work, right? So, and then on the 20th of November up until the 12th of December, it's more it goes backward in Scorpio, which is your 5th house. So that area of your life, by the way, Mercury there in Scorpio is going to be easier for you. Why? Because you are a fellow water sign. So this is things that pop up that has to do with love, has to do with romance, has to do with children, projects, the way how you enjoy life. There's something here that all of a sudden pops up. All of a sudden some secrets come out and they prompt you into looking at it. You have to look at it. Maybe a communication with a child that comes out of the blue and you say, oh, what? But ultimately in the end, it's going to be good, so that you can see now and look now, because only then you can shift the situation and improve that situation. Also, love, it can mean love comes back to you and there is something that is shifting. It's a very romantic energy to have that Mercury there in your 5th house, because it means you're talking about love. Or there could be a person that is very scorpionic and very intelligent when it comes to emotions, and that kind of helps you and makes you see what is going on here. Leos, the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is actually very good for you. Why? Because you were a fellow fire sign, and this happens in your 5th house of self-expression, of love, romance, children, hobbies. So you could go back to an old hobby here, all of a sudden you see, or you could go back to a project that you've been doing. You could go back to an old lover, right? It could be rethinking if you're single, for instance, it could simply mean rethinking your attitude around love. What you have some breakthroughs there, a breakthrough in a love relationship, a breakthrough with a kid, or with you thinking about getting kids, and all of a sudden there is this understanding here. But because it trines your energy, this is more flowy than for other signs who are not a fire sign like you. When it gets into Scorpio on the 20th of November up until the 12th of this, you feel it a little bit more, and it's a bit more challenging for you, because then this Mercury is in the fourth house, the deepest part of your horoscope, which is your emotions, your emotional setup, your home, literally as well. Could be a lot of you thinking about this and having breakthroughs. Maybe when you're selling and buying or wanting to sell or buy a home, there's a breakthrough here. But there's an unsettling element so that you have to look at. And the sooner you do, the sooner you find a solution. Could also mean on an emotional level that you kind of want to review how you react. For instance, you say to yourself, I react way too soon, and I want to be more pausing and responding. Another way of expressing your emotions could be that as well. With the retrograde, you could go back to your home country as well if you live in another country, and there could be some things rapidly evolving around that topic as well. And renovating, right? You could be thinking about renovating a home or shifting something there. Also with parents, a connection with a parent, it could be like all of a sudden a shift in that. Virgos, when it's in Mercury in Sagittarius, it's a big deal for you because it squares up to your energy. That can be a little bit nervous, right? Mercury, it's your ruler. You could get a little bit more nervous during these times. You are an earth sign, and you will have a lot also of that benefit of the water energy. So to calm down and to get back to planet Earth. But this Mercury in your first house, up until like the 20th of November, is definitely about your roots, literally your home, also where you're coming from, your emotional setup. You're thinking about it, and you're thinking to improve it in a way, because there might have popped up something that is a bit unsettling, that is a bit like, what's going on here? Is this an old way, an old pattern of emotionally reacting? You might say to yourself, I'm too reactive and I want to shift that, and I want to get more pausing when something happens that kind of gets me, or that is very important to me, and that I'm not reacting immediately. That shift there in consciousness around your emotional setup, very important. But then when Mercury goes into Scorpio, and on the 20th of November up until the 20th of December, it is in a better flow to you, so it's easier for you. It's a sextile energy, and it's in your third house of communication. So for you, this Mercury opposite Uranus is definitely, as Mercury is your ruler, so you could be saying truths to people without you even knowing it. And but I think with that, certainly that last week of November, you could be really saying truths to other people, but in a gentle way. Remember, Mercury conjoining with Venus, and Mercury is you, and Venus is that gentle energy. But also there could be truths coming out for you, right? You're getting an email, you're getting a message, like, oh, what's going on here? And but it's an invitation. It's an invitation to think differently, to sit with the discomfort, and then to make the most out of this new truth, right? Very interesting. Librans, this is the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, is not that bad for you because it sextiles your Libra energy, and it's in your third house. So there could be some communication that is all of a sudden coming in, an email, a phone call, a message, and it surprises you. and it shifts the way that you think, and it kind of, in a way, liberates you, but it's up to you whether you see this as something positive or not. If you embrace it, chances are big that you're gonna now look about something in a totally different way. And Mercury rules your 12th house of hidden patterns. So there could be a hidden pattern of yours really coming clear. And you're understanding it now. And then you can tackle it better. When Mercury goes into Scorpio on the 20th of November, stays there up until like the 12th of December, you have an invitation to work on the confidence and to work on your assets, your money. There is like Mercury opposing Uranus. There's something sudden happening that kind of gets you a little bit nervous there and surprised, and something that you didn't see coming that has to do with your assets, your the things that you own, but also the money that you earn. Now, know that this is happening to improve. Like, for instance, a computer could go down, right? With Mercury opposite Uranus, electricity. And instead of saying, oh my goodness, what's going on? I don't have the money. If you embrace it as, okay, this is a computer of 10 years old. When I have a new computer, I'm going to have a look at how I'm going to raise that money. I'm going to do, you kind of hustle for the money in a way. You do on eBay some sellings or whatever it is. You get really, really innovative in your thinking to make it happen. And before we know it, you have this new computer and it works 10 times faster. And you thought like, oh my goodness, I wish this would have happened 5 years earlier, right? So it's that kind of energy. On another level, it's your financial system that it's a good time now to put it upside down and to kind of look at it and see what's going on here. This is being honest and kind of taking that legacy and understanding how you can improve it. Scorpios, of course, it starts with the Mercury in Sagittarius in your second house. So there is this aha moment around your resources, your money, your value as well. So something can, for instance, break down that you don't want to break down. Something of that belongs to your belongings, your assets, and so on. But whatever it is, know that maybe it can be uncomfortable for a couple of days or maybe even a couple of weeks, but it's there to improve it, to improve your financial situation, to improve a very bad car into a better car, a very bad computer that is running its programs very, very slowly to faster. So if you see it like that and you're willing to sit with the not so comfortable energy, there is definitely an improvement of that house for you waiting there. But of course, more important, and also your self-worth. There could be things coming up, your talents, to adjust it and to go from there. But on the 20th of November until the 12th of December, it's all lights on you, because this Scorpio is your first house, and Mercury retrograde, it's you thinking about you profiling yourself in a totally new way. And definitely when this Mercury goes direct again in your sign. And that's going to be on the 30th of November, right? At 20 degrees of Scorpio, it goes direct, and then it's together with Venus. So there is it's also about your looks and how you come across, to do this in a more gentle way, in a more loving way towards yourself, first and foremost, so that you're not, because be careful of having that power there with Mercury in your sign. You could be saying words to people that are very close to you, romantic partner, for instance, that you're going to hurt, and unnecessary. You don't want to have that. You want to have that, remember, find to do it a bit more in a finer way, not in that Scorpio sting way. It's easy. It's easy if you know someone very well to see their weak spots and to do this. That's very easy. It shows more maturity, and it shows more, you could say, an upgrade and a growth, not only of others, but yourself first and foremost, to stand above that and to transform in a way that, because you're maybe insecure or you feel a little bit more down or whatever it is, that doesn't make that, it's like a bit of a self-destructive energy here with that Mercury in Scorpio. So be aware of this. Of course, if you're going to be very aware of this, you will have a huge upgrade of you understanding yourself way more, and therefore other people as well, and just accepting them as who they are, right? And because also out of that compassion, these planets like the sun in your sign and Venus there and Mercury there, all trining Jupiter, all trining Saturn, gives you a lot of understanding and empathy for self and others as well. So this is a breakthrough for you, a breakthrough of how you see yourself. And there's like all of a sudden someone else might say it to you very bluntly, and instead of attacking back, you kind of pause and sit with it, and with the inconvenient emotion. And because, Scorpios, they are so deep, they understand other people so well. And but it's also now an invitation of understanding the self. And then you will attract also people who understand you, because a Scorpio person can say like, yeah, I understand everyone, but no one understands me. It's like getting out of that state. And that's a very, very healing energy for you, for sure. Of course, there could be honesties that need to be spoken out with a spouse or a girlfriend, boyfriend. And, it's best to do that because you have that energy now. And who knows, that the relationship even gets better. But also, if you think like, no, this is a very toxic energy here, I want to get out of this, you can with this energy here. Sagittarians, all the eyes are on you, of course, when this Mercury is still in your sign up until the 20th of November. It's very much about what you think and what you think about, and watch the introduction. Be careful with not trying to force your thoughts towards someone else, even though you know very well that it's the truth, right? It's about a respect of, other people. They can think what they think, but if they ask, I'm going to say it. Of course, if you're speaking your truth and you're doing this in a very loving way, very good. It could mean that you're going to speak truths here in relationships, with business partners, that going to shift the relationship for bad or for worse. But all in all, you're going to stand your ground, and be aware that there's some frustration here in your sign here as well, when this Mercury, especially around the 9th, 10th of November, when the Mercury retrograde starts, up until like the 13th of November, you have this Mars Mercury, right? Which is quite fiery energy and very like, I'm going to say my truth, and probably it will have to be a bit that way because other people might have crossed the line, or other people are really trying to push you in a direction that you don't want to go. Then of course, yes, use this energy to say no, but use it in the most respectful way. And also don't let yourself, the ego thing drive you, right? Know where other people are coming from, whether it is your children, whether it is your spouse or whatever. Know that they also are coming from somewhere. And but again, you speak your truth. You are assertive, not arrogant, right? And so yes, there's going to be you that will want to defend itself for sure, but, up until like the 20th of November. And of course, sometimes we have to do that in life, right? Because we all have those moments where we think like, hey, what? So in that respect, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that things are realigning towards truth. And you are definitely someone who loves the truth. But it's how you express it. As Mercury is also, and this is a bit more complicated for you because Mercury is also the ruler of the 7th house, this could also mean that someone else is saying truth, is speaking out their truth, and it's really shocking, and it's really like, what? What's going on here? And then it's really about getting grounded and not rushing yourself into action too much, because, it's better to kind of breathe a couple of breaths there before you're going to act. It's good to have some inspirational action for sure, but make sure that you're keeping your cool, basically. And then Mercury goes into the 12th house in Scorpio on the 20th of November up until the 12th of December. So that's going to be like more you going a bit more introvert when it comes to your thoughts. You're not going to say what you think, and you are going to ponder and understand patterns, hidden patterns of yours, blind spots of yours, and kind of, it's a good time to for instance, to have some time alone, to have some, you and your thoughts and the sea, for instance, or you just investigate something as well, right? It could also mean that you're really going to be in the Sherlock Holmes mode and investigate something, And as it rules your 7th house of relationships, this could also mean that your significant other is going into that state of going a little bit more in relaxing mode and going within. So it's a good time there to do some spiritual work and some understanding of that for sure. It can feel a little bit like I'm all over the place with the Mercury in the 12th house, and like, I'm a bit lost with my thoughts. But that has to do with kind of dissolve, the patterns and the blind patterns and the unhealed patterns that were running you. It's a very good time to get into spirituality. Capricorns, this is all starting off in your 12th house with Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius there. So a very, very good time for you to kind of, although you might feel a little bit more lost with this energy and your thoughts are everywhere and, you're dreaming a bit vivid there, to say the least. With Mars there as well, the whole month in your 12th house. But what it can do for sure is doing spiritual work and being a bit the Sherlock Holmes of understanding the things that we do not see. So watch some YouTube videos that you like around quantum physics, around hidden patterns that you have and that you want to dissolve, the patterns that run you and that are from childhood or even from inherited from your ancestors, and that you want to heal them. So it's for you a time of hidden thoughts and doing that in the background, you could say. But then when Mercury shifts into Scorpio, which will be on the 20th of November up until like the 12th of December, there's more focus on your friendships, and there's more focus here on, there could be a friendship, there's a hidden truth here that is revealed, or you reveal a hidden truth, whatever this is, this could be possible. And with Venus there in your 11th house, maybe it's about love, friendship, romantic love becomes friendship becomes romantic love, all that kind of stuff. That could be like this, certainly with Uranus, love for definitely that as well, love for friendships. So there could be revealing here something that needs to be spoken about. And although it is a bit uncomfortable, it could, I say a bit because this energy sextiles your energy. So you will be better off with this energy because it has a sextile to your energy. And it could also mean a friend coming back and all of a sudden they're at your front door, and my goodness me, for better or for worse. If it's for worse, you simply don't open. Anyway, you do whatever you want to do. And it's also goals for the future. There might be a new goal. There might be all of a sudden a new idea you have for the future. If you have your own business, this is also an income house, the 2nd house of the 10th house. So you could be having a new idea to earn money with your business. Aquarians, this starts off pretty good for you with the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius in your 11th house, because this sextiles your energy, and there could be all of a sudden a friend appears out of nowhere standing at your front door, and for better or for worse, if it's for worse, you can keep the door shut, whatever it is for you. But there could be in friendships, there is a bit of like, oops, aha moments there. Or a friend says something to you, or you say something to a friend, and it kind of shakes up the connection, but at the end, it's for the better. So truths that were hidden and so on, that could be spoken out now when it comes to a certain thing that how you believe, right? You could be sharing that with like-minded people. And also for goals. So you could be having a new idea out of the blue. You have this new idea, or you want to start up an association, or there is this shift in a new idea around. If you have your own business, this could mean also having an idea for having and attracting more money and networks to improve that, right? To improve your network by all of a sudden an idea or a connection. And then it is a bit more challenging for you on the 20th of November up until the 12th of December, because then Mercury moves into Scorpio, which squares your energy, and it's at the top of your chart. So for many of you, this is a review, this is an aha moment at around your career. So there could be all of a sudden a communication that might have been hidden, and all of it's either you do it or another person or a boss or whatever it is. It shakes you up, and it is like very shaky, but in the end, it's to, watch the intro. It's all about honesty, and it's all about going further in a more authentic, real, honest way. You Aquarians, you like that, right? You are all about innovation. You are all about avant la lettre. You're all about that energy. So I think you will deal well with this energy. It can also come from a parent or your communication with a parent. There's a drastic shift, and it's a bit shaky, but all in all, it kind of helps you to improve your connection in the end in a far more honest way. Some of you who want to have a different career, who they can certainly be the whistleblower here, or shake up stuff around career. Absolutely, absolutely. Pisceans, last but not least, Mercury in Sagittarius in your 10th house of work. This is up until the 20th. So from the 9th of November up until the 20th, it's going to be the most challenging, that part of the Mercury retrograde, because it's in a fellow mutable sign. So you have an opportunity for something coming out at the career level, right? So there might be an information, and it's about belief systems. So something can come out, and it's like very unsettling. But the goal is to free you up. The goal is to get more independence, and either it is a communication from someone else, or it is from you at the workplace. Whatever it is, it's to free you up, and it's to see in a bigger perspective. So some of you could change a job because of that as well, and decide to now or never go for a new job. Now, can also be a connection with a parent, that there is truths coming out here, or there is a conversation. It's a bit shaky, but ultimately it's there to restore the independence and the honesty of the relationship. When it goes into this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, it's easier for you because you're a water sign, and Scorpio is as well a water sign. From the 20th of November up until the 12th of December, you're going to have this in your 9th house. So you could be traveling back to a country you already visited. You could be going back to that and really having some aha moments there, or connecting with someone from abroad, because Mercury rules also your 7th house. So for those of you who are looking for love, it could, by traveling, by going back to something, by you could really all of a sudden meet the love of your life, so to speak. Of course, this has to do with other stuff in your chart as well. But it can also mean that you go back to school, you go back to editing a book that you were writing, for instance. This has all to do with publishing and communicating and learning and studying and traveling. So this is a lot by you going deep with these things. And maybe it's a book that you're reading or a cultural event, and it puts your life upside down. It makes you see, and very clearly, and it has to do with your belief system again. So there's a lot about beliefs, your belief system, that is challenged here, to look at your own belief system, and to investigate and to say, like, to observe, is this really true? Is this still true? It might have been true years ago, but is it still valuable now, right? Scorpio, it's about values as well. So very interesting. And but don't think like, okay, yeah, Mercury retrograde and I'm traveling, it's going to be all horrible. This Mercury retrograde trines your energy, so you're going to get fine. And take a book or two if you're flying or traveling, and you might even have benefits there in your extra stay, so to speak. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this Mercury retrograde, and I hope it was helpful for you. And if you want a reading, click on the link below where my website is, astroveerle.com, and you can see a variety of readings there that you can order if you like. And thank you also for your sharing of the videos, your liking, your subscribing. It is very positive indeed. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.